All right. What is up? Oh, I look awful. Welcome to the Real Boys podcast and video cast, whatever you guys call it. Welcome. This week we are watching Collateral Beauty, my number three favorite movie. And we have the group. I'll go ahead and introduce them in. First, who do we have? Michael Colby.
Hey, it's me.
What is up? What did you
Not
think?
much. I just
Review.
I just wanted to say before we get started that Chris, I like you as a person. I find you enjoyable to be around and talk to. But I don't think we can ever go see a movie together because that would just be a miserable experience. This just didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I understand that, Michael. I understand that you grew up living in a sewer, so it's okay. Uh, Michael has no family and doesn't understand emotion.
Well, half of that is true. I do have a family, but no, I don't understand emotions.
Michael's best friend is a donut, so I don't know. No,
That's also my girlfriend is a donut. So,
yeah, okay. So we'll definitely get to more of the through the movie, and we also who else we got? We got let's invite the next person. We got Dan Lovely. How do you say it? Did I say it right? I've never said your name. Are you?
Yes, you did say it right. Good job. Hey, what are you doing?
What did your kid think about?
Well, I like them. I actually like the movie. It was. I can see why it's one of your favorite movies because it's a very feely movie. There's a lot of feels in here.
Yeah. Was this your first time watching it?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Well, you're welcome.
It was fairly decent. I wouldn't put it in my top 5, but it was fairly decent.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Well, this is going to be a fun conversation. I'm excited. I wish we had other people, but it's me, you, and Mike. So let's bring everyone in.
Oh wow, that's 3. Okay, cool.
So off, I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of Will Smith. He's probably my number one favorite actor. Grew up on him. I don't think there's a movie that I actually hate of his. Me and Mike talked about it a little bit. After Earth, I wasn't a fan of, but other than that, I love almost every Will Smith movie. Same with Mark Wahlberg. I seen this in theaters the day it came out, and I didn't know what it was because I don't think it got a ton of it didn't get a ton of commercial or promotion for this movie. So a lot of people don't even know that it exists or have never seen it. It's $88 million in box office on a $36 million budget. So it obviously wasn't. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great for this movie.
Squeaky chair.
I do like it for it was something that not knowing what it was going into it, I enjoyed it a lot. So that's why it's my number 3. So how y'all want to start it? What do y'all?
I was kind of confused though. Were they actually actors? Because at the end they're at the bridge, but they kind of disappeared.
That's like the
It's
twist.
like a symbolism or something.
Because the idea was that they were actually not actors. They were put in the place that they were actually Death Time and Love.
Oh.
Playing themselves. Boom. Good writing.
Right.
Say it?
Right, yeah. And that's the movie, folks.
So that is, yes, they were themselves playing actors, playing themselves, which is just great. Why don't you like that, Michael? Why didn't you like the big twist? Did you guess it before the end?
It was just, I said this before we started the show, but this movie has my least favorite type of writing where the emotion, everything that this movie wants you to think and feel is spelled out for you. It doesn't respect your time. It tells you what you're supposed to be feeling, And I hate that. When just like if that was the case, if the case was that they were the personifications of these abstract things, like it doesn't make any sense. Why did Will Smith's friends hire them to make him seem crazy so that he would sell his shares? Why didn't nothing made any sort of logical sense. Everything was feelings, and all of the feelings were just dumped onto you. The movie had no subtlety. It was just like, and then you have the woman who's trying to have a baby, who's getting older and trying to have a baby. You have the guy who has cancer. You have the guy who's going through a divorce and his child hates him. You have the guy whose wife, whose kid died, and I'm assuming that most people who have a kid who died, that tears families apart, and that's terrible. But like, the woman who's running the grief counseling thing being his ex-wife or whatever, and then it was all just so I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like you're going to feel sad and you have no choice. And there's nothing in this movie but sad. I'm just, you have to be sad. And the thing was that I knew that this movie was manipulating me. So I wasn't feeling sad. I was feeling annoyed because I knew that the movie wanted me to feel sad.
You're a rebel. Okay. So
you're a rebel, right? You can sit through this whole movie and not feel one ounce of sadness. You're heartless.
Brain so bad that he is like it, because it's not like it's a horrible story. It's not like it's like just complete trash. It had good acting in it. It was thing that to make a good movie, and it was just because they were trying to make you feel sad. You're like, you know what? I don't want to like this.
No, I'm not gonna do it.
No. The acting was definitely Chris. The thing that I love the most about Chris's microphone is you can't hear it if somebody else is talking. So if I keep talking, you're not going to hear anything from Chris. So here I go. It wasn't that I didn't want to feel sad. Like when a movie does a good job of explaining, what's going on, and it makes you feel your emotions naturally, that's fine. But this movie, it didn't feel like it was trying to make me feel sad. It felt like it was manipulating me into feeling sad. It was like, you have no choice, and that drives me crazy. Like, give me some respect, like respect my intelligence. Let me figure out how I'm supposed to feel. Don't force it down my throat.
But isn't that how life is? Life us into being sad. That's how it feels. It's a lot. It's always, I don't know how your life is. You must have a good life. My life is full of sadness. And it feels like all the time, like you feel like you're forced into a certain thing. And that's why I like this movie, is because it's so much, but it's realistic. Things like that happen where it's an abundance of just trash. And for it to be so much, you'd be like, I want to, when I'm watching a movie, I want to be entertained. Is that in a positive, negative way? It's like, okay, I used to work at haunted houses, and they taught us at the haunted house that your job was to entertain the actor in any form necessary. So your job is to scare him, but your real job is to entertain him and to get a reaction. So if you couldn't scare him, your next tactic was to gross him out. If you couldn't gross him out, you're supposed to make him laugh. If you couldn't make him laugh, you're supposed to make him feel weird or something like that. That was the idea. So when I go to a movie, if I go in with no intention of knowing what the movie is, I love the fact that it's making me feel some kind of way. Is it angry? Is it sad? No matter what it is, even if they're forcing it on me, I like to be forced. I like it a little rough.
Yeah, well, see, the thing about life is life lets you pick. Life lets you choose. You know, if you have a bunch of shit, I mean, I've had shit dumped on me my whole life too. Like everybody has. But it's not forcing me to feel bad about it. Like I can take the sadness that I feel from some tragedy and turn it around and make myself, you can be sad about it for a while, but then you have the choice as to what you're going to do with that sadness. This movie and this type of movie doesn't let you feel how you're going to feel. It makes you feel how it wants you to feel. And that's not how life is. Life doesn't make you feel a certain way. Life gives you situations and then lets you deal with it. This movie did not let me deal with anything. It said, you're going to be sad. You're going to watch this guy die of cancer. You're going to watch this guy's kid hate him. You're going to watch, this, and then you're going to see Will Smith and his ex-wife get back together because he was finally able to deal with it. But we're also not going to tell you what happened with their advertising company or whatever. It didn't let me deal with anything. When I have emotions, which is not very often, but I like to be able to process them and deal with them how I want to. And this movie also wasn't entertaining. But you were right. The acting is fantastic. Like, Will Smith is great in this. Everybody who's in it is great. But they didn't have anything, like Will Smith was chewing it up. Like, he was over sad that whole time. And I imagine that that's sort of what the script gave him. It was like take however you would feel about your child dying, which I never had to deal with that. So I don't know. But 3 years later, and he's still, comatose, basically. Like, he's in a walking stupor the entire movie. Like, that's too much, maybe.
I don't know. That would be tough because you can't really, that does happen in real life. Especially, you never get over that, especially as a young child, with something like that. So I don't know that experience either, but I wouldn't even want to imagine it.
No,
and,
I don't want to think about it either.
Yeah. So for him to have to get into that character, I couldn't see you playing it in any other way. Imagine doing that and then trying to be, playing a happy character. It just wouldn't have made sense. Which I understand, but I do think the acting was really good. I would have said this movie was entertaining because I'm confused by that comment. I get what you're saying about if they did for us. They didn't make you want to feel sad because it was just a sad movie. But sometimes in movies, they're telling a story. And in this particular story, it was a sad story. And it had a lot of layers of sadness on top of sadness on top of sadness. And sometimes that is people's lives, and sometimes that is how the story goes. And I do think that's why I like this so much, and because it isn't as usual that you see it, especially for a Will Smith movie. Not saying he has movies that have this line of like 7 pounds and Pursuit of Happiness have this tone of sadness of a struggle that he's going through. But what I liked about it was the twist and the side characters, because this wasn't a whole lot of Will Smith, even though compared to other movies he's in as a main character, it was really his side characters that were really the show. And he was this quiet character that didn't talk. And I loved that aspect of the movie for the fact that he was the main character, but didn't hold this huge script, even though he did, you know what I'm saying? And there were twists at the ends that I didn't expect, because in Will Smith movies, there aren't really twists. When you see a Will Smith movie, it's pretty straight out for you. It's not like this crazy turn at the end. And if there, I can't think of one off the top of my head if there is. So I liked that it was something that I don't think I've really seen him in.
Like Like it did have a bunch of feelings in it. Like most of the time you're sad, but when I found out like the friends were like manipulating him to think that he was crazy, that kind of pissed me off. But then you realize that they had their own reason to do it, but then you're back to sad again. So it's pretty much if you feel like crying, then yeah, you're gonna want to watch this movie. This is a good movie to watch if you feel like crying.
I always feel like crying.
For someone who makes everybody laugh all the time, he's the sad person inside.
How it works. I mean, that's my job. I make people laugh for a living, but like, especially me, because, and this is, we might be getting too deep. Sorry for the podcast, but someone like, even like if someone dies in my family, if someone's sick, I'm the person people go to for relief. I'm the person people call when something sad happens because I will make them laugh. Mm-hmm. So when I watch movies or go for entertainment, I want to feel something because I don't get to have those same expressions because I have to be the strong, funny one all the time. Right. So I connect to movies like this and Forrest Gump because of the backness of what the emotion of the person is instead of what the storyline kind of makes sense. So I think that's why me and Michael have a different perspective on movies.
Yeah, I was 40 when I realized you don't have to be the strong, funny one. You can tell people in your family to fuck off. I'm going to be sad now. You can do that, Chris. I promise you. It will be okay. You don't have to be the strong one.
Guys, is this therapy now?
Every family needs a backbone, so yeah. But
the one person being that, it's not fair to that person, so you don't have to be that. I give you permission to be sad every now and then.
I give you permission to cry, sir.
I do it by myself watching Netflix. That's how that's why I went and see this movie by myself in theater. And I mean, I love going to see movies by yourself because you can kind of just sit there and have your own thoughts, your own discussion about it. I guess that's kind of weird to say I had a discussion with myself, but that's what I do. I sit, I watch a movie, and then I enjoy it. And I don't go into movies expecting anything. And that's why I do have a lot more movies on a higher, status that maybe you guys wouldn't. And I don't really care about all the extra stuff, the technical logic, because I think that's, in my opinion, logic doesn't matter in writing, in my opinion, because you can create a universe. If we can create superheroes, then we can create anything. So it shouldn't matter if this storyline, the logic doesn't make sense that that love, time, and death were playing themselves twice over,
And we don't even know that because, I mean, in reality, you did see the three of them on that bridge, and then they look away, and then they're gone. But that was a bridge above them. They could have just it went to the back of the bridge,
went to the other side,
just gone.
Can't see ya.
Yeah, there's no saying that they were actual
they were giving them the idea of that when they said that they set up. It was like a callback to an earlier thing of where she said that a woman at the hospital said something to her about Collateral Beauty, and then it happened to be the same woman who was playing Death. So It's pretty much telling you that she was Death in of herself. So I mean that was the idea of it, but it is no real tell, but it's giving you the idea that it is.
They also never explained Collateral Beauty. They said it a lot. They said it like 7 fucking times. They're like, oh, Collateral Beauty, but they never say what Collateral Beauty is supposed to mean. It's like, oh, somebody's dying, but see the collateral beauty in that. What are you talking about? And then, say the phrase Collateral Beauty 10 more times. I still don't know what it is.
Real quick. When I watched the movie yesterday, I was watching going, Mike's going to bring up how much they say Collateral Beauty. They say it so much because you know what it was? It wasn't that they said it a lot in the movie. They said it a lot in one scene. It was one scene. They said it 4 or 5 times. And then they said it one more time at the end of the movie. And it just made it seem like they're going to keep saying this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I knew you were going to bring that up.
They said it so many times and they never explained it, because collateral beauty is not a saying. It's not like something that you've ever heard before. It's not like it's in the zeitgeist. It's not like you know what they're talking about. So if you come up with a phrase like that, you have to tell me what that phrase is, or even give me a clue as to what it is.
Hey, you just said they were forcing you. How do you feel? What do you think collateral beauty is, Mike? Tell us what you think. They're not
Collateral,
forcing it on
yeah. I see. I don't think it's anything, because it doesn't mean anything. Because they're talking about when someone dies, that there's collateral beauty. So what I'm thinking is, it's beauty that comes out of a bad situation, but in the movie, they're not showing you any of that stuff. All they're showing you is the guy dying of cancer and his wife being sad. Will Smith not being able to function as a human being or get the help that he needs to even start making that turn. There is no beauty that comes out of any of the stuff that happens in this movie.
What if the collateral beauty is that they're no longer with us here, but they are in a better place? That's kind of what I got out of it.
Oh,
Like,
see, that's
as much as it sucks that they're not right beside you, they are in a better place.
Well, and then that would be something that I wouldn't have thought of, because I think the only thing that comes out of, when someone dies is, the flowers that come out of the ground where they're buried.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I grew up religious, but I also am going through this like midlife crisis of not understanding death at all. So
Right.
because they give so many different. There's also another movie that gives me like where I try to overthink death and I get real weird, because they give a little. It's like, does the writer know more about life than what we know? You know what I'm saying? So they give little things of sayings that may or may not happen that are cliche. Like have you ever seen the movie Lucy?
Mm-mm. Oh, where she's like the telepath, or she becomes everything at the end.
Because she had to smuggle drugs through. She got sex trafficked or something, and the drugs were something that got into her system, and she was able to open up 100% of her mind, which gave the answers to life. I think it's a dope movie. You guys should watch it. In that, they say a lot of things about little subtle things about what death could be, and all that kind of freaks me out. So because we truly don't know. Even though I'm religious, I believe in that stuff. I also have my doubts. So this collateral beauty to me, it could be what Dan's saying. It could be what you're saying. I had to look up the definition of collateral. One definition is a person having the same descent in a family as another, but a different line, which I don't know what that means. Other one would be something pledged in security for repayment of a loan to be forfeited in event of default. So if I went off a definition, or what I think it'd be collateral beauty of like, we get paid in moments in life, and the moments were before the bad situation. So the memories you had with the video with the daughter is the beauty in the life that you had, and that's what you're supposed to remember as collateral beauty. Or with Michael Pena, Michael Pena is also one of my favorite actors. I meant to say that too. He's one of my I don't think there's a movie I hate of his. When he was dying of cancer, he was hiding it, and death told him, "Don't miss this opportunity to let them say goodbye." And I think that was the collateral beauty of, you have a moment to really live in the moment of, this is it. Like, when I think of that moment of all the time of like, if that's all I have, this is the last thing I can say to you, what would I do with that time? And I think that those are the moments that, because there's so much other stuff going on, we miss that of the message of like, really, really live for what you have today. And same with the guy with his daughter. He's so worried about her being mad at him that he's not actually trying to live the life he can with her. So it's all about what we can do with what we have and who we have it with. and actually live in those moments. Is this getting too deep? Do we need to make
We're getting deep on the podcast today, guys.
No. And I totally agree with you there. But I don't need a movie shoving that down my throat. Like, I can figure that out myself. I don't need Will Smith's red eyes crying for an hour and a half, like, to tell me that, live your life and, tell the people that you love them. Like, I don't need Will Smith crying at me for an hour and a half to tell me that. I know that.
You might not, but you're also 40. At 27, we don't think about stuff like that a lot of times. You're so worried about, oh man, we got to figure out how we're going to make it, or we're going to figure out how I'm going to get famous, or how I'm going to make money, and am I going to find a wife? Am I going to have kids? And you kind of forget to live the day you have, because that's where I struggle a lot, where I'm always looking ahead and I forget about today. And I needed that. I need these kind of movies to remind you, because we get so caught up in social media and videos of what everyone else is doing, you forget about you. And sometimes I even think it's about not even saying I love you. I think, I say I love you to my mom, my parents, and my brother and everybody, but did I mean it? Was it just me re-saying the word over and over again? Did we lose sensitivity of it and desensitized it? Because the only thing in this word that we don't know about is death. We don't understand it. We don't know what happens. We truly have no true knowledge about it, other than we all die. So for us to not take that as seriously as we should, and we, a lot of people don't, and they don't love the people today, and they let arguments go on for weeks and fights and all that stuff. I think that movies like this is important to kind of, if you really sit and think about it and go, oh, maybe I do need to do more with who I have now. And, someone like you, Michael, you might have figured out, but someone at 27 like me, we haven't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also, when I was 17, I got into a very serious car accident. I had internal bleeding. I broke my spine in 3 places. And, I was in the ICU for 2 weeks. And maybe that did help me figure that stuff out when I was 17 years old, because that's something that I've never lost sight of. And I mean, I guess if you need a movie to do that, that's way better than almost dying when you're 17 years old. But I mean, that might also have obscured, how I feel about that kind of stuff. Because like I said, I don't need a movie to tell me that, especially when it's just, this movie is just so heavy-handed. It's like, it is relentlessly telling you to be sad. And I hate movies that are just telling me, even if it's to be, even if it's to look on the bright side of life, like, I don't need a movie pounding that into my head. Like I said, let me figure out how I want to feel about something. And this type of movie is not something that lets me do that. I like to be, like I said, I like to have my intelligence respected by the movie and not be told what I should be feeling.
And yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Oh, but not everybody's Michael Colby, so some people need to have this shoved in their face so they understand it. But
I think it is a good balance. Like, this is one movie. You know what I'm saying? So out of the million movies that are made, I think it is good to have some that are heavy-handed and some that aren't at all. Like you said, like Forrest Gump didn't have enough character arc, and this one might have had too much, where it was too much. And I think that's good to have these kind of balances. And in this movie, I just connected to it a lot, because I'm a softie. I'm a girl. People don't know that. And when children or women die in movies, since I was a kid. When Scream was my least favorite movie growing up, because the girl dies in the beginning, I shut it off when I was like 8. I never watched movies like that. I hated Jaws because the women die. I've always hated women and children die. Fuck men. But
they die all the time.
Yeah. So stuff like this, I connect to a lot more. we're only 30 minutes in, and I feel like we've gotten a long way. What would you do to this movie to make it better, to make it more your speed? What do you think they could have done?
Put a little bit of laughter into it, maybe. I know it's a heartfelt movie, and you're supposed to have a tissue box next to you when you're watching it, but put a little laughter into it a little bit. Don't make it such. I don't know, such a crybaby movie. I mean, I did enjoy the movie. It was entertaining. I watched the entire thing, so it was. I don't know, but I didn't cry. But I could see why people would, and I just think it needs a little bit more comedy. Maybe have Edward Norton get punched or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I was also thinking that, like, you have a lot of actors in this movie that are known to be comedic actors, and it doesn't need, like, it definitely didn't need to be a comedy. But it could have had, a line every once in a while or something that happens that just lightens it up. Even maybe that would have even helped if it would have had 2 or 3 times where it lightened up from, I mean, this movie from the get-go was just a dark rain cloud just pouring on me the entire time. And if it would have had like a little break in the clouds where some sun could shine through, maybe besides the end where Will Smith and, the woman are, holding hands and walking down the street, like, that was nice. You start to see that he is getting over it. Maybe something as simple as maybe not making everything so dire. Maybe this could have happened 1 year afterwards, and maybe his entire his entire business isn't crumbling around him because he's been unable to do anything for 3 years. Maybe it's just starting. Maybe we don't have his friends that he's had since, I think they said, like, middle school, gaslighting him into thinking that, hiring a private detective to steal his mail so that they know what's going on with him. Like, everything seemed a little bit too dire. Like, we're about to, 75 people are about to lose their jobs. Maybe, oh, this is starting to get ridiculous. It's been a year. Our clients are starting to think that this is weird. Maybe it's not. And get Will Smith some help. Like, let him be able to be helped, because after 3 years, I don't care what your tragedy was. If you let it go on for 3 years without getting any sort of help, that's unhealthy. And he probably wouldn't have even been in as good of a shape as he was after 3 years without getting any sort of help.
They said that he was just they said it really early. It was quick that he was terrorizing the therapist or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was a quick little line, but I do agree. I said this too. I was like, because last week you weren't here, Dan. I made a joke, or not a joke, but I was saying that I felt Forrest Gump had a perfect amount of comedic tone to it, and they were saying that comedy isn't part of Forrest Gump. And I was going to make that joke with this movie, but there really isn't much. But I think they tried, but it wasn't executed, because there are lines that would have been funny if delivered correctly. The dad who is falling in love with love, he was supposed to be, I think, the more witty comedic guy, kind of goofy, and it was almost like a Chandler Bing, but not good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think daughter's talk at the end was supposed to be a little funny, where she's like, "I don't believe you're stalking me, and I'll make you pay for it if it's free." That was supposed to be funny. And then Time was also had some witty things that were supposed to come off funny, that I think, because it was such a heavy movie, they kind of got brushed under the radar, because the little talk between him and the woman about the baby issues had comedic writing, but it didn't hit. You know what I'm saying? So I think they tried. I just don't think it was executed. Also, because the characters they were using for it weren't the main comedian characters. You have Will Smith and Michael Pena, who are known as comedic actors, are playing two of the most serious roles. One who's cancer and one whose daughter died of cancer. So those two characters, I wish there was more of a connection, because with Will Smith knowing his daughter died of cancer, right? Is that what she died of?
Yeah, a rare form of brain cancer, which they also said about 1,600 times in this movie.
And then his best friend dying of cancer, and he knew it. For that not to be a little bit more of a deeper moment, I think was a miss. But no, I think it had its moments to do it, and I think it did miss. It did need comedic timing in this, and I think that's what was missing out of this. But I still love this movie, and I do put it up there as his best movie because I just enjoyed it. Like, I love all of Will Smith's movie. I love 7 Pounds. A lot of people don't, have that. 7 Pounds was my favorite Will Smith movie until Collateral Beauty came out. And then I have I Am Legend and the other ones, that I like. So
I Am Legend is cool. It really dicked up the ending of that book. Like,
it was a cool movie until like the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, the ending of that book is incredible, and they dicked it so bad that I was like, oh, fuck this movie.
On TikTok, there's an alternate ending to that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is closer to what the ending of the book is, where I mean, I don't know, but the ending of the book is that the vampire things are telling the story of him to their children. Like, he's legend because he's the bad guy of their story. It's amazing. But instead we got this like very lame ending where he saves everybody. And it wasn't cool.
Right. In the alternate ending, it was like he didn't throw the grenade and kill himself or whatever. It was something different. Like he let the main vampire in because that was his wife or something, and then they saved each other together. It was something crazy.
Okay, I just thought of something else that could have been better about this movie. Is they could have spent a little bit more time before the time jump explaining how these people were very good friends from a long time ago, because by the time you get that time jump, like, you don't really understand that these people, you just think that they work together. And you learn through the movie that they've been friends for a long time, but it never hits the way it should. Like, if I knew from the jump that these people were all friends, like really good friends, they hang out all the time, and we've known each other since we were 15 years old, we started this business together, and then we have the time jump, and now all of a sudden, all of this stuff is going on, probably would have, maybe then I wouldn't have felt like my emotions were just being manipulated, because I would have actually felt something for these people who were trying so hard to get their friend back.
They told you instead of showing you.
Yes.
And that's the problem. Because
that was definitely the problem.
And I get that. That makes sense, because I do agree. It went right into sadness immediate. It was 30 seconds of, oh man, Will Smith is this vibrant character to darkness really fast. And I do get that. That does make sense. My next question is going to be, do you feel like it was casted correctly? Do you feel like someone tainted the movie at all, or do you think that everyone fit in the characters they were?
I think the cast was pretty good. I was actually surprised by how many known people were in it, and I liked every single cast member in here. So
yeah, the cast was definitely great. I was like really surprised by the kid who played the time character. He was amazing. Like, that was great. The only thing I might have done was, if you would have flipped Edward Norton and Will Smith, maybe some of that stuff that Edward Norton's character was supposed to be, like, you have, I mean, I don't care who you are. Edward Norton is less charismatic than Will Smith. So if you would have had Will Smith as sort of the funny, charismatic character, and Edward Norton as the sad bastard, maybe that would have worked better. Everything else could have been the same. You flip those two, and maybe, maybe our, I'm going to put jokes in quotation marks, but maybe our jokes work a little bit better because we have somebody with better comic timing. Edward Norton is a great serious actor. So maybe some of that stuff wouldn't have felt like he was chewing it up as much as Will Smith was. That may have been all it took to have flipped me on this movie.
I would say I don't know what movies Edward Norton is. He's probably one of the only ones I didn't know in this one. But he would play a great Scrooge.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Did he ever play? I don't even know. He may have.
I don't know. I just thought of that. Like I was like, oh, he would play a good.
Yeah.
Scrooge.
The other thing about this is like the fact that it was set at Christmas time felt like they wanted it to be important, but it never was important.
I think that's my least favorite part about this was that it was set around Christmas time because it didn't feel like a Christmas movie. It was overly sad. It wasn't about the holidays. It was about this story, and I think that was just a part that didn't need to be added at all.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I do think that could have been different. Casting wise, I loved Time. I was going to bring him up. I don't know what else he's done, but I thought he played that character super well. And also Love. I thought she was so emotionally just it, like any word she said, I believed when it came to what love was. Death. I mean, she's
Death.
I think she was the most effective one of the three. Like, I mean, that's Helen Mirren. That's Helen Mirren, right? I mean, she's an amazing actress. And then when she got, when she was in the costume with the feathery boa, and she's all blue for some reason. But when she was talking to him, I did feel like she was the one who was getting through to him the most. Which I mean, that I appreciated that. The Love character, I think they could have done a little bit more with her, but she even said it. She was like, I don't think I got through to him when she was talking to him because I was too wishy-washy. And it's like, that sort of is how love works. But maybe a little bit stronger of an actress playing her would have, because she was fine, but maybe, somebody who was a little bit more up and down rather than her, who felt like she was in the middle and then was talking about how up and down she was, but she really wasn't.
I can see that. What I loved about the deaf character was when she was trying to play all the roles, because it made so much sense when she does, you find out that she's actually deaf, because she's like, oh, I can do love way better and time really way better. It shows that death is very selfish and to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just added to that, I think. I think it was like, oh, that means like death thinks it's love and time. It controls all. And I thought that was so much deepness into that character that I loved a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, that's also definitely true. Like, she did say something about, without me, time and love mean nothing. Because if you have an infinite amount of time, it means nothing. You can love whoever you want, wherever you want, for however long you want, and you have as much time to do everything that you want. So, I mean, that was definitely right.
So I think that this movie had a lot of great parts and messages and deepness to it. But I think the underlying deepness that, it gets missed because of all the heavy-handed writing that you said. And I do understand that. And I think that if they maybe brought down that a little bit, you would have got all these deeper messages a lot faster and felt it a lot more.
Definitely. Yeah, because when the writing is trying to manipulate what I'm supposed to feel, I'm not feeling what they want me to feel. And this movie had a lot of feelings that could have been expressed. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, it wouldn't have taken much. It would have taken a little bit, take your foot off the gas on the sadness a little bit, let the movie breathe a little bit. This will be the first time you've ever heard me say this, but it could have been 15 minutes longer and it would have been more effective.
Like 8 to 10 minutes longer. It would have.
Yeah, it wouldn't have even needed to be the whole 15.
Yeah, because it was. I thought that's why I love short movies. I'm not a I like Forrest Gump's one of my favorite. That's a 2 hour and 50-minute movie.
Mm-hmm.
The only movie you'll catch me saying that. But I also never watched it all at once. And we talked about that last week. It's great in chunks. I only watched it at 45-minute periods. So with this only being an hour and a half, I thought it was a perfect. It got in, it made you feel something, and it got out. But if you added more, it would have maybe gave that breath to where it wasn't boom, she's dead, boom, he's dying, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just a lot. So I do understand that, and I do respect that. But here's my rebuttal. That is the negative part. There's one negative thing. It's not like an abundance of negative. It's not like it's, oh man, the story was rough. It was heavy-handed. They casted it wrong. Oh man, Will Smith sucked. His acting was horrible. No acting was bad in this.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Also, the story was actually a good story. It was just overwritten. So if you underwrite it a little bit, it's still a great storyline, and it has a great character arcs in each character. It just wasn't executed as well as it could have been. So before we announce our reels, I think we're going to wrap this up. Before we announce our reels and have our last topic, think about that before you confirm your reels in. Of that, it was just overly written and high noted or emotion. If you take that away, it's great casting, it's great acting, it's a decent storyline. If it was done right, we would rewatch the movie to find the story. And it did have feelings. It did have something and substance behind it. So with that being said, let's do our last. Hey, that's. I'm a great lawyer, man. I would might have got y'all. Up a reel or two, even a half a reel, man, helps me out a lot here. Reels matter. I gave this movie a 9.5, and I know that's high on most movies, but these are my favorite movies. I've watched this movie 6 times. Every time I get emotional, every time I have some tear in my eye at some point in the movie. There's no part in this movie where I'm like, I fucking hate this movie. I shut it off. This movie all the way through and not have an issue. I don't fall asleep. It's the perfect movie to me. So 9.5 for this for me. Dan, last thoughts?
I enjoyed the movie, and like, it kept my attention throughout the whole thing. It wouldn't be my first pick to go back and watch, but I would give it a solid 6. Like, I'll meet you guys in the middle in solid 6.
Down?
You have 7 in the chat, Dan.
I did. I brought it down a reel.
Oh no!
This is a great.
Wow, your lawyering did the opposite on Dan.
I'm sorry, buddy, but yeah, it's probably not going to be my go-to to go watch it again, and like, I'll probably watch it if I walk in on my fiance watching it. So yeah, it's 6.
But for your first time ever watching it and never hearing about it, I think that this is a good watch. Like, I think it's not like something that you're like, oh man, this is never going to be watched again.
It was better than I expected.
And then also, if you have like, if you're on a date, Michael, I think you're married. I think you're both married. But if you're, this is a good, gonna get. I'm saying, you got a date. Girls like those sad movies. Take Jasmine 6.5. Appreciate you. All right, Michael.
Well,
go ahead.
We're not counting your reels, Jasmine, but
Sorry, Jasmine.
I'm not going up any reels. I'm sorry, Chris. You are right. Everything you said was right. This movie does have a decent storyline that is overwritten. It's too heavy-handed, but the cast is great. But The problem is it was overwritten. It was too heavy-handed. I was not having a good time while I was watching this movie. Like not necessarily a good time, even I wasn't being entertained. I was being irritated because I was being told how I should be feeling. Plus, it was well directed, except for the fact that it had 17 overhead shots of the city, which I don't know why they kept doing that, but it stuck out. Like, they did it so much that it stuck out to me. I'm like, why do they keep flying over this city? I guess they rented a helicopter or something and wanted to get their money's worth out of it.
It's the beauty part of the movie.
But yeah, well, it wasn't, because they had some beautiful shots in this movie. Like, even Will Smith being sad, sitting in the middle of his living room, looking out the window in the dark, looked nice. Like, the shots were framed nicely. It was just, we kept showing this weird moving overhead shot of New York City, and it irritated me that it was, but yeah, it was heavy-handed. It was overwritten. It was manipulating my emotions, and I don't appreciate that. It did go up 2 reels since after I watched it yesterday. But it went up 2 reels to an entire 4. But if I would have finished watching this right after, like right before we started recording, like Dan did, it would have been a 2. So
before we confirm that 4, Michael,
if you want it to go down, you're gonna lawyer me some more. I will bring it down 2 more.
Hey, wait, real quick. This is it. A 4 is below average, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means that being a decent movie is neutral is a 5. This might not be your favorite movie. All right, this might be awful. This might be something you never watch again. But is it as bad as some of the movies we've watched that you've given less than a 5?
Well, no, it wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as A Quiet Place that I gave a 3 to. It wasn't as bad as Army of the Dead or Tomorrow War, which I gave a 2 to. So I am giving it more than that. But it was because of how, like, I had such a strong aversion to how heavy-handed this was that, like I said, I came up to, it's still below average. I did not have a good time watching this movie. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone. Like, there are sad movies that I can recommend to people. This would not be one of them because of how heavy-handed it is. It is well acted, but I mean, you can find a million Will Smith movies. You can find a million Edward Norton movies. You can find a million Helen Mirren movies.
To say you wouldn't recommend it,
I wouldn't to anyone.
Hold on. Wait, what if the situation was someone was like, hey, I don't want to overwrite, so I need a recommendation for a movie that's overwritten. Don't do that. Wouldn't you?
In that very specific case. But here's the thing, though. If you're trying to get me up a reel, what you're saying is, if someone asked me how to not write a movie, would I recommend this? Yes, because this is not how I want my movies written. So it's a 4. And if you say one more word trying to get me up to a 5, it will go back down to a 2.
A 5. I just wanted a 4.5. That's all I was at. Okay, so in total, this is 19.5 out of 30 reels, making it a 6.5 reel movie. I'll take that. I think it's like 0.4 less than Forrest Gump. And it was, I think Quiet Place was like 5.8. You guys hated that.
Yeah, that was a terrible movie.
Consistent with my 3 movies. They're right around 5 and 6. So my next 2 are both. I don't know. I'm not going to get Mike on either of these because you've seen Lion King?
Yeah.
Right?
Lion King is fine. Lion King, I promise you, will be above a 5.
So that we're watching the remake. It's not the original.
That's fine.
Okay, I'm just joking. No.
The original.
Does the remake have songs? Because if the remake doesn't have songs and we watch the remake, it'll be higher.
It'll be higher.
And
I
then
did see that your number one movie had your boy Marky Mark, and that's already that's to start at an 8 because I have to watch Mark Wahlberg.
quick before, because I want to bring this up. My number one movie is Instant Family with Mark Wahlberg, but it has Tom Segura in it, who is an amazing comedian, and he does make it, help. And Eliza Schlesinger helps
Mhm.
Oh, I love Eliza Schlesinger.
it does. So bring it back up to a 10 for those reasons. And then let it come down. But
Okay.
so those are going to be in a few months, because this is the start of movie week number 3.
Mhm.
So now we're on our 3 favorite movies. So I'm excited to see your guys' next movies. Mike, you said, what was your next one?
RoboCop.
Cop. And Dan, what's your number 3 favorite movie?
Mallrats.
Oh, okay. I'm
Dan's
definitely
Dan's third favorite movie is Breakfast Club, but somehow we
switched them.
switched up.
okay.
So it's Mallrats now.
Guys, this was the Real Boys. We appreciate you guys checking us out and watching Collateral Beauty with us. This Friday, we are watching Back to the Future at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, because we
we live in a capitalist hellscape, and people who go to the hospital need to have GoFundMe's made so that they can afford to live through a hospital stay. So we are doing a charity stream from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Friday. The Scene Snobs Network, which we are a part of, is having a 12-hour stream. Our slot is 11 p.m. We're going to be talking about Mick Manhattan's favorite movie, which is Back to the Future. And can we maybe turn this into a give everyone in the country healthcare stream?
Ooh, that's political.
That's okay.
I can't cross that bridge.
I am going to get political on the Real Boys. Give people healthcare. Being alive is a right. Stop making us pay to be healthy. Fucking sucks. This country is bullshit.
I mean, he's not wrong.
All of those things are right. I am a leftist agitator, Marxist, anti-American. Fucking give me healthcare, and maybe I'll calm the fuck down.
I mean, as a comedian, we don't get health benefits, so check up in 6 years. So I'm not against what he's saying. But check in back if you want to hear Michael rant about things that we shouldn't talk about on the thing. At 8 p.m. we'll be watching Mallrats, which is Dan's third favorite movie. So come there, and I'll be shitting on that movie while Michael talks about how Trump was way better than Joe Biden.
You will never hear me say that. I'm not a big fan of Joe Biden, but you also, I don't even like to joke about that.
I'm sorry. I was just joking. Make sure you guys check out the Real Boys. Subscribe to our Facebook and our Twitter. Make sure you guys check out our Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube for all our episodes. We do episodes twice a week. Make sure you guys subscribe to that. Real quick, Dan, tell us where we can find you and your name. Dan Leavely.
You can catch me at Oops Caught Me Smoking on Saturdays. We're going to start going live again here in a couple weeks. And you can catch me on Bet That every Thursday night live at 9 p.m. EST. And also you can catch me on The Real Boys every Monday and Friday.
Oh, thanks, Dan. All right.
I'm Michael Colby. Jack Billings presents Haunted Apartment Complex. We are recording episodes tomorrow, and then next Tuesday they are going to start coming out. So subscribe to that. Generation Clash, No Time to Binge, I Love This Terrible Game, and Real Boys every Monday and Friday. Let's get out the guillotines and chop some of these billionaires' heads off and give us our frickin' health.
Next.
Guys, I'm Chris Harvey. I was the host and MC for the evening. I appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you guys check out the Chris Plus Chris Show on all social media platforms for podcasting. And check out Chris Harvey Comedy on all social media. I got upcoming shows. I'll be in South Carolina coming up. I'll be in Cincinnati, Ohio coming up. I'll be in Alabama coming up. I live in Atlanta, so you can catch me anytime out here. Make sure you guys check out my schedule for upcoming shows. Follow us on social media. See you guys this Friday. Back to the Future, Monday, Mall Rats. Big shout out to our producer who's behind the scenes, Dylan, for doing all the work for us. We appreciate you guys. Come see us again.